everyone, welcome back.
All right.
What are we doing? Triforce
Selling cars,
I
apparently? Oh, no, yeah, we're doing a podcast.
I remember this. Welcome back, Pyrion. How are you? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You doing good?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Sips?
Yeah, same old.
How are you?
I'm all right. Actually, the sun has come out a little bit.
Are you really?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit positive.
Right, okay.
I think I've been very down in the dumps lately. I don't know whether it's come through in recordings or podcasts or anything.
They say that you should always ask your friends if they're okay twice, right? You ask them once, you say, "Are you okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then you say, "Are you really okay?" And then that's when, no, it gives them an opportunity to open the floodgates. It's a thing, right?
Because the first one is automatic.
The first one is just the polite, "You right?" Like if you see someone on the street, you say, "All right." They don't go, "No." Ask them twice.
Yeah, you gotta ask them twice.
A crisis.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. The first one is a reflex because it's a polite, automatic thing that people don't really. It's like just a part of our society, right? Whereas the second question, you're actually asking, out of interest.
But I have noticed that I don't think I've seen Americans, to confirm, but I don't think I've seen Americans just go, "All right." Like that's a British greeting.
That's a British greeting, yeah. The all right.
Yeah.
Greeting,
yeah, it is.
And sometimes they like chain it onto other things. How you doing? All right.
Yeah.
It's very British. Yeah, you wouldn't get that in America.
You do get that. You do get how you doing?
Going?
Hey man, what's up?
How's it hanging?
How's it hanging, bro?
Yeah.
But then they don't ask, how's it really hanging?
No, but how's it really hanging? Is it really hanging okay?
Because that's when you get the real answer.
That's it.
No, it's really drooping to one side.
Hanging poorly today. So this is funny because this actually, I was thinking about TV acting and hey, you okay? Yeah. Are you really okay? It's a very TV acting trope to have that. And then the music starts and they glisten eyes and they look up and no, it's like that. So I've been watching Agents Marvel of S.H.I.E.L.D. No, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Agents of... No, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the one.
Right.
Which is a good show. Like, it's a laugh. It's nice and relaxing. It's got Coulson in. It's got some very good Marvel-y stuff in. It's got some really cheesy stuff that just makes me laugh.
You watched it with the fam?
Yes, they like it. They like it. So me and Mrs. F watched like a couple of episodes. So generally I stop streaming or doing anything at about around 5 and I go downstairs for about 3.5 hours and we'll have dinner and we'll watch some telly, we'll hang out because she's finished work as well at that point. And then I'll come up and start streaming and the kids go to bed and everything. So that's our sort of filler where we all hang out and watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever it is that we're watching at that time. So we were watching something else previously. Modern Family, my kids.
Man, I wish we had that filler. Our filler is my kids treating my living room like it's some sort of padded play area, jumping on the couches and stuff like that. This they decide to do 2 minutes before bedtime.
Yeah.
They decide to expend all possible energy that they have left in their systems by screaming, trying to kill each other, and just horsing around generally,
That does stop. Like, I would say it does, yeah. I mean, my eldest, she's nearly 12. She is on Minecraft with her mates on Discord, shouting at each other. So I send her upstairs to do that upstairs because, I don't want to hear what sounds like a really bad stream live in my living room. So I send her away. I get that full experience whenever I stream. I don't need to hear someone else doing it as well. And my youngest has just finished whatever the Super Mario game on the Switch is, one where you have to... I don't know the name of it, but anyone that's
Odyssey?
played it...
The one with the balloon?
Yes, it's Odyssey. Yeah.
That's a great
There's
one.
a level where you turn into a little penguin with a pointy nose, and you have to stab it into a boss and sort of lever your way down and then boing up. Anyone that has played that boss, like you hit him, he fires the bombs at you, you shoot them back with the pointy nose, then you climb up him and you have to peck open the domes with the people in. If you've played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
she was stuck on that level and she came to me for help.
Oh yeah.
Which was quite surprising. Compared to a 9-year-old, I'm a gaming god. It makes me feel very good, but I'm obviously
wise,
dreadful.
sage expert. You're the Nintendo helpline.
I literally am the real life helpline.
Man, I can play Super Mario Brothers, the original, more or less with my eyes closed. I played it so much when it came out as a kid. It's all muscle memory now. and we got the mini NES, and I was playing Mario Brothers, and I was showing off a bit. I was like running through every level. I knew where all the warp pipes were and stuff. And I thought that like my son would be really impressed. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, this game looks stupid.
He didn't respect it. He didn't respect it. He never tried it for himself and failed. If he'd failed enough, he would have learned that you were.
He tried it once, and he got to like 1-2, like the first underground level, and he was just like, he fell in a hole or died or whatever, and he's just like, what else is on here? There's like 30 games on it.
Right.
He was ready to move on straight. They're just spoiled for choice now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only game I had for like 5 years. So of course I played the shit out of it, It's
We're
just how it
living
was.
in a renaissance of entertainment, guys. TV renaissance. There's so many great shows
multi-billion-dollar industry now. They make so much money, and there's just so much choice nowadays too.
So much choice.
I tried to make the
Spoiled.
point to my youngest when she was stuck on that level. She was like, "Oh, this is impossible." I was like, "You kids don't know you're born." I said, "In my day, you would have got 3 lives. You fail on this boss, you go back to the beginning of the
You
game."
would have had to spend like a year's worth of salary playing this over and over in the arcade to get good at it. What are you talking about?
Whereas here, if you stand still, she played with assist mode on. If you get hit, if you just stand still for a bit, it gives you all your life back.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and then you could just
That's
get
disgraceful.
infinite tries.
That's disgraceful.
It's just too easy.
I don't know. I'm playing Super Mario 3D World, which I think is the original Wii version that they re-released on Switch just recently. I had like 25 lives collected up, and then I got this one level, and because I'm playing it co-op, and we just couldn't do it. Like we just kept dying over and over again, and we actually lost all 25 lives on this one level that we collected. And I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Are we going to have to start at the beginning of the game? But it's like, no, you can just continue.
Yeah.
And of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah.
But I think they've always done that though, right?
No, they never did. I have a couple of examples for you that I'd like to share. Double Dragon 2. You had 3 continues, you had 3 lives and 3 continues, and when they were done, that was it. If you didn't make it to the last boss or whatever, there was no save point, there was no code you could put in to just skip the last boss or whatever. You died, you had to restart from the start.
But did Super Mario World give you continues? Do you know what I mean? Like that's a pretty old game.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Super Mario World gave you had the map, right? So like if you died and lost all your lives, you would just have to restart back to the last sort of save point for what the map.
I think it was you had to complete a world, right? So it was like let's say it was 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. When you went to the next world, I think if you died, you go back to that point. So the resume point is actually quite a few levels deep.
Yeah.
So I was trying to say to my youngest that the way all these games are designed is that the skills you need to beat the boss will have been learned in the previous levels. So you can't get someone else to do that stuff for you because you're going to need those little things that okay, so it's like this. You need to learn that stuff and then take it into the later levels. But she wasn't interested. She was like, I've been doing it all day and I'm stuck.
This is what's now called hardcore, though, right? Basically, the idea that when you die, you start at the beginning. And that kind of has a more of a accolade of pin on it, right? Because so many games are
there's definitely a niche for all that.
Yeah.
Though.
I mean, there's Minecraft
there's a
hardcore,
lot of games that have that as a thing that you can do, and I think that's cool or whatever. On this subject as well, something that I've been playing recently. I don't even ask me how I got into playing this, but I've been playing Call of Duty Warzone, like just the battle royale.
Was it Hat Films?
No, but funnily enough, I played with Ross last night, which was pretty fun.
I heard it was good. Warzone, I heard, because it was on the Polygon top 10 games to play from 2020, and I was like, how is Warzone, which is like a free to play?
It's a
Call
BR,
of
right?
Duty.
So if you like a BR, you like, I mean, we played PUBG together, all of us, and it was pretty fun times,
Battle Royale.
right?
Yeah.
God, sorry, I didn't know there was I didn't even know what that was for a second. A BR. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I thought you said B. Arthur.
B. Arthur, yeah.
B. Arthur.
Yeah. So it is pretty good. It's fun. It's very like fast. It doesn't take long to like. I mean, coming out of getting bored with the current wipe of Tarkov and playing something that's a lot faster that you can play with people. It really promotes like team play. You can see who's on your team. You don't have to double check who's who and all that kind of stuff. So it's a breath of fresh air from Tarkov. But one thing I've noticed about that game, holy crap, it's like you have to kill a guy 10 times to finally kill him. You like, there's so many revives and chances for teammates to bring your friend back. You can buy your friends back if you get to a buy station. There's the gulag. So you do like when you die, you get one chance in the gulag to do a 1v1 against somebody, and if you win, you get to spawn back in and stuff. Yes. And it's like, oh my god, it's crazy. It's this whole like, let's give the player another chance gone mad. It's just like I said, it's like 10 times you have to kill somebody sometimes. And like you kill them and they drop in right on you because they want their stuff back. So you're just like shooting a guy with nothing as he parachutes in to try to get his stuff back and everything. It's just like, oh my god, it's crazy. It's just that's the weirdest thing for me, that game.
Is this an example of like game design where people think, oh, sitting out is the worst thing? Like that's why
it is for sure. There's definitely an element to that. I think because you got the gulag, even when you're waiting for a game to pop, it puts you onto the map with a bunch of other people just like for a warm up. So like I think their philosophy was they want you to have something to do constantly, and even at the bare minimum, if you have nothing to do, you can spectate your friends, you know what I mean, or you can spectate the rest of the game to see who killed you, how they're doing, or if they were cheating or whatever. There's a lot of that, and overall it is pretty good, but I can't get over that. It's just insane. It's just
isn't that the game that's like 100 gig install or something stupid like that?
It's the most convoluted install process for any game I've ever known, and it's because there's basically 3 separate games in one. You get to a menu, so there's zombies, which is kind of almost a standalone game at this point, but you need to have like the base game, Black Ops Cold War to run it. And then Warzone is its own install and game, which is 100 gigs. And then there's just the default multiplayer, because this is like the latest Call of Duty Black Ops. It has, the traditional
Call of Duty
maps with the fucking deathmatch or whatever modes that they have as well. All in, it's got to be like 300 gigs. It's insane. God. But you can install each one separately.
But I'm sure I saw a thing saying that you can't even do a full install on the PlayStation. Like it won't fit.
Oh yeah, probably on console. Yeah, it's probably a nightmare.
You have to have like a little box by your PlayStation to install. You hear this all the time about like the Switch. Like when The Witcher 3 came out on Switch or something, the install size was bigger than the hard drive of the Switch.
What do you do?
You have to have like the memory card. You can get memory cards like really these tiny like little SD sticks.
Oh, wait, so are they Switch
massive.
Specific, or can you just get any memory thing?
Yeah, you can just buy like a 256 gig one,
That's how they do
just
it.
go in there.
They tell these guys, "Can you please bloat your games to sell more memory sticks, please?" Like I guarantee you, that's a fucking conversation.
Well, you got to think like if you're trying to shave money off your console, though, you might as well, you want to. You can save like £100 by not putting a decent hard drive in there, and so anyway, I'm interested in playing it, honestly, Sips. Like,
it is good fun. It's very fast. The guns feel really nice. Like there's a lot about it that's great. It is actually really good. It's a little bit sweaty at times. It attracts like tweaked out 13-year-olds who want to play with their mates and get G fueled up and get sick 360 no scopes and stuff like that, and that's fine. You get to hear them for a brief second when you kill them. There's like this feature where if they have their voice
this is why
stuff
I know
enabled, you kill somebody and all you hear is like some kid crying in his kitchen. And you get the very brief like mom like shut up, and then just cuts off like straight away
because he's obviously angry, so he's like banged his table and then is like in reaction or
that's
something.
That's actually a really dangerous feature, but I think that's fucking
get that
hilarious.
Oh my god, yeah. There's a really nice player report system which I use all the time, no matter where I am, even in the warm-up. If somebody kills me, I report them for cheating.
Even in the bath, you're like
absolutely
people.
I mean, if you kill me, you got to be cheating. So
they've added a new report thing to Dota, which is like they call it Overwatch, which is like the same as I think it is in CS:GO, and essentially the reports that are made in the game go to the community for judgment. So you
Right.
download a file, which is like a mini replay. All the names are hidden. It shows you the rank of the game, because that does matter. Because quite often you'll think, I think this
What is
person...
this to crack down on smurfing and stuff too, or not really?
Griefing, hacking and cheating, and abusive behavior, yeah.
Right.
So if I waddle down mid and delete all my items and feed under their tier 1 tower because I didn't get the role I wanted, that's a report, and I'll see that and I'll say, yep, this guy's guilty. And if enough of those are guilty, the person gets banned. Which I think
Guilty as charged.
Exactly.
You serve 10 years
It's like
in
being a
the
judge.
lower priority queue.
It's
Oh
great.
my God.
So I'll sometimes do them on stream, and it's interesting to see people's different takes. Quite often, people that are just terrible at the game get reported for feeding when they're not. They're just super bad. And a lot of people I try to keep what counts as cheating or abuse to quite a tight, sort of narrow band, rather than just saying this person didn't help their team. And whilst that might have cost them the game, is that griefing? Or we don't know what happened, what conversation took place. We don't know what happened in the first 5 minutes of the game. They might have all fallen out with each other, and this guy's off trying to, at least he's pushing out lanes and farming. Occasionally turns up to a fight, loses and dies, and the game was lost. But it's not the same as someone literally saying, having a sulk in the first minute and just standing under the enemy tower and feeding the mid. That's griefing and abuse, I'd say.
What you
Playing
need to
very
do,
badly
right,
is not
what we need
bad.
is like proper punishments for these people, right?
What do you,
like,
what do you suggest?
Well,
They should have an island that they send all these people to for the rest of their lives, and their punishment is
physically
they're never
with really bad internet, so they can't get out of low priority.
I was
That's
thinking
it.
it might be like you have to complete a series of challenges, like community service, to get back into the game. So it'll make you have to go onto a map and get 1,000 last hits on the map, and that's like step 1. Step
That's
2,
like writing lines.
right? Exactly. Make them do lines. Like, give them some tedious tasks.
I will not be a little bitch to other people.
You have to
I will not
apologize.
be-
Man, you should have like there should be a point system, there should be like a gaming driving license, right? And if you get caught doing like cheating or being super toxic or called out somehow or whatever, you should lose points like you would on your license, and then eventually you can go to jail and never be allowed to game again.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Well, the problem is some people will use that. Some people will have that badge with all those negative stamps on it as a badge of honor.
but they won't be able to get in a game.
But they won't be able to ever game again.
So that badge of honor is, I can't play.
So Daff has terrible internet at home, and he had a week off, and every day he was in the office, and I was like, "What are you doing here, Daff?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just playing Dota and stuff," because his internet's so terrible at home. He would rather just come into the office and play games all day here.
It's so bad in Bristol, the internet.
One morning he was like, "Oh, I was playing yesterday, and I got disconnected, and I got put into low priority." And he was so sad because low priority is such
it's horrible.
torturous thing. Once you've been there once, you never
It's so
want
bad.
to go in there again.
So bad.
But I think like maybe you need to like hit them where it hurts, like make it so as soon as they raise like 150 gold, they automatically buy a ward. I don't know, or something like
They're
that.
free.
Some like no, it like
It's changed
spends
a lot
their
since you
money.
last
It
played.
spends their money in game.
Okay,
Like
yeah, but the wards are free, I'm just saying.
Oh, are they now? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, it's changed.
So your point is ruined. I'm sorry.
The
but-
economy
My point is
much
rude.
different.
I'm just trying to think about where it hits them, whether it hits them. Where it
Yeah.
hurts. I'm just thinking like community service, like is a nice idea. What do you do?
Until
do you,
you
like,
stack 50 camps for your carry.
Man, what if the game could detect like that you were cheating or whatever, and then instead of doing anything, it just secretly put like Net Nanny on their computer, and it prevented them from accessing any porn whatsoever, and it was really cumbersome for them to then delete
God.
this like weird malware that like prevents them from being fucking degenerates,
Yeah,
I think
or
that
maybe
would be a
it
good
like
one.
puts a lock on their fridge so they can't get their like fucking hot pockets
McCain
and
deep-
Lucasade
deep
out.
and delicious cakes.
They have to drink water instead of G Fuel for a
Can't
week.
drink Mountain Dew for a week. Oh no.
Mom,
I don't know.
don't blame me, blame the computer.
I feel like there must be some.
Hey,
that's
so
a good
I've
idea.
discovered this week and last week, we ran out of series to watch. I'm sure there's other series out there. We just haven't felt like watching anything. But what we did find is on the iPlayer, on Channel 4, they have the entire back catalog of Storyville documentaries.
Oh, wow. Those were so
right.
good, man.
Holy fuck, some of them are amazing. Jesus. I've watched two. I watched the one, The Whirlybird Over LA, the husband and wife reporting team in LA. They started up their own like independent sort of news thing, and they bought a helicopter. And the guy he had some mental health issues and was really just not equipped for the stress and everything, and ended up losing the plot and having a heart attack when he was like 35 years old.
Jesus.
But famously was used, a lot of his footage was used for the OJ chase.
Wow.
The 92, the Rodney King riots and stuff. And it was really interesting. It was like, I think like the Storyville stuff's like 80 minutes or so.
Yeah, they're
interesting.
really. I used to love watching those.
They're really good, but they're all on there. So, and there's a new one about Jersey as well. Dark Secrets of a $1 Trillion Island. It's all about
I think Mrs. F watched that actually, and there's a lot of dodgy stuff on Jersey, man. Yeah, there's. A lot of
for sure. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Oh my god, are you watching it? Be like, that's my house.
No, I haven't watched it
there.
yet. It's a bit heavy. Like I've kind of put it off. I don't want to like, you gotta sort of be like in the right mindset to watch stuff like that, because it's pretty disturbing stuff. But so I'm gonna get around to it. But in the meantime, we watched one that wasn't so heavy, which was pretty heavy, which is the DuPont, the Teflon, that chemical that they were dumping
movie?
into the rivers. No, this is a Storyville documentary about it.
Oh wow, okay. Because I watched the movie with the Hulk in it. He wasn't in Hulk form. What's his name? Mark? No, Steve. Tony Butcher. I can't remember. Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo. Yeah,
right. No, this was
Ruffalo.
not the movie. No, this is this is a documentary about the class action lawsuit that was filed by like 7 different towns because of the amount of this like C8 chemical that was found in their drinking water, and it was giving people cancer left, right, and center.
It killed a bunch of cattle. But the thing is, once it's in the water, it never goes away.
It never goes away. Yeah,
like they're saying, it's probably in every single person on the planet.
But that's good advertising for the Teflon, because you go lasts long, right, on your pan.
Well, it's crazy because so in the end, this amazed me. I'm not surprised, but I'm still amazed that this can happen. It was all settlements. Nobody from that company went to jail. There was nothing done to them. They had help from the EPA. Like the EPA fined them like 16 million, which is just like a grain of sand compared to the profits that they were making every year. And in the end, because they're sort of like the look of the company was so bad because of this chemical, they made some big announcement that they were going to stop using it. So everybody's like, oh, great, the big corporations changed their ways or whatever. They developed a new chemical that's exactly the same. They called it something different, and now it's turning up in waterways.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Fucking insane. It's just it's fucking insane. I can't believe it.
This is all the stuff behind the things that we take for granted, though, right? And also it's it's always been the way. There's hundreds and hundreds of examples of these.
It's
things.
Like, but this is like everything.
It's very depressing when you think
babies
about
growing, being born with like tons of deformities. It's cancer. It's oh my god. It's just ravaging. It's just ruining people's lives.
I'm just astounded at the lack of political will to stop that.
Yeah.
It's obviously money is such a big factor, and these companies are so powerful that they essentially just paralyze any government. They just go, no, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, no, they take it in their stride.
It's just like, amazing.
They
How
had
can
to
you live
dish
with
out.
yourself?
It was like $650 million worth of lawsuits, and it was just like whatever. We'll just put it down as an expense and just keep on going with our deadly chemical and dumping it. Like 50,000 gallons of it was dumped into the river. I mean,
amazing.
And this thing is indestructible. It's probably in the ocean. It's everywhere. Like it's fucking.
It tends
they
to
poison
be a couple
the whole
of
planet
evil
single-handedly.
people at the top telling people what to do, and not really just kind of trying to cut costs and not care. And that's it happens over and over again. Like I think there is this idea that companies can build in the costs of the costs of legal, or settlements into their profits. They're like, well, we're going to make this much money. We're going to have to pay this much in reparations, and therefore, I can still get my bonus and my yacht and all of my stuff that I want. Like I know it's terrible, really, actually.
But the worst thing is, this is just one example of like hundreds of companies who've been doing this all over the place, I'm the more sort of ones that we're aware of are probably ones in America because it's so well documented.
Well,
and
what
covered,
scares me actually is how much of this stuff is happening in, places that aren't regulated. So much production has been over the last 20 years has been sent to India and China.
And their regulations are far different there. I mean,
what is it? The Bhopal disaster is quite a famous example of how it all went tits up. Let me just give you some of the.
Yeah, that was in India, wasn't it?
So
yeah,
it's the Bhopal Gas Tragedy. It was a gas leak.
That was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, but about 4,000 people were supposedly dead, but over 16,000 people claimed, and about 500,000 non-fatal injuries as a result of this. Read all about it. It's a very long story. It's unbelievable.
You'll probably get to it next week, Sips, if you keep watching the
documentary. It's not. I mean, some of it is pretty heavy. It's very interesting, and the documentaries themselves are really, really well done. But I can't believe how many of them there are. Dude,
that shit ran for years.
I feel like we just found a gold mine. Yeah,
because I used to watch it with my mum back in the day when I was still at home when I was a kid. And
these documentaries are great, but also sometimes very depressing.
Oh, for sure.
I watched one this week called The China Hustle, right, on Netflix, about how after sort of the financial crisis, these hedge funds were looking at new ways to make money, and one of the things they did was everyone was looking to invest in China because China was kind of unaffected and was massively growing, and it was this huge place that was the only place in the world where it was all out of control, and so. But you couldn't invest in these Chinese companies because they were all still sort of they're kind of behind this curtain even today. And so what these Chinese companies would do is they would buy an American company that was listed on the American Stock Exchange but wasn't really doing anything anymore and was kind of out of business. So like a cheap mining company in Texas called Old Mammy's Iron Mine, Iron and Nickel Incorporated, right? It would be some shitty company that had obviously at one point was profitable and now had kind of just decayed to a very, small business. But so they would buy that and they would actually do what's called a reverse merger. So the Chinese company would become owned by that company and then they would rename that company to who they were. And of course, that gave them immediate access to the American stock market without going through any of the proper regulations and being tested for whether they actually existed or not. And these hedge funds would start telling people to buy these stocks and buy into these stocks. And of course, no one did any of their due diligence. No one went out to China and actually looked at this stuff for a couple of years. No. And when they started doing it, they realized that none of these companies existed or they were all just lying. Yeah. And there was this huge scandal around it. And so it was such an interesting, and of course it was all loopholes and legal and no one goes to prison and no one gets in trouble.
Yeah, this is the thing that is so surprising. And it just goes to show that if you have enough money, you can just avoid getting into trouble all the time. You know what I mean?
I think all you need to do is find something that is incredibly scummy and should be illegal, but isn't. Talk to a lawyer and he says to you, oh yeah, well, this isn't actually legal, so go ahead and do it and make loads of money. And then they go ahead and do it. I think it's this odd thing where people are so hungry, or corporations are so hungry for money that they aren't really even aware that these kind of scams affect people, right?
Man.
Or affect things.
Yeah.
It feels like a victimless crime as well, really, when you have the idea that it's it's just money being transferred around between rich people.
Because it's in the structure of a corporation, there's just no accountability. Everybody just says, well, he told me to do it. Everybody can just wipe their hands clean of anything and sleep like a baby every night because it's somebody else's fault. But then you never can find out whose actual fault it is. And then in the end,
you don't know who
they just
you're
end up getting fined some
crimes,
pitiful
right?
amount that they
You don't know who's been led into this thing, who's lost their pension, how that's affected them. You don't know where these crimes have gone. And I think that because it's affecting, it's someone else, it's not a problem. It's like that ethical quandary, isn't it, of whether you would let 5 people die who you don't know, or your wife. You know, you're like, well,
oh, isn't
obviously...
it like the one with it's always a train on a track. I don't know why it always comes down to that. The train on a track, and
you've got the lever.
There's 5
That's
people
right.
on one line and one dude on another line, and do you pull the lever to, like, it's already heading for the group of 5 people is the big one. Do you pull the lever to kill the other guy? So it saves the 5 people. So one of the big ones is there's a train coming, there's a very fat man on a bridge. Do you push the fat man off the bridge to land on the track and block the train, or not?
Okay.
I love how we're assuming that the fat... What kind of fat shaming
he has to be
scientists are doing
enormous.
this?
He's very big. It's not his fault. He's a very big guy.
Even if he was like Jabba the Hutt big, he wouldn't stop a train going
All
at
right,
full
but
speed.
equally, you would just
realistically,
shout,
right?
"Get off the fucking track!" I mean, that would, it's a hypothetical, right? It's like it's
Well,
been
if you
designed.
push him off the bridge, how's he going to... He's not going to be in very good shape
No,
already.
he's going to have to
but-
scream it in midair while
All
he's
right,
falling
it's
down.
a low bridge, or the train can
Right.
just fit under it. It won't kill the
What
fat
kind
man.
of train is this?
But if you pull him onto the track, if you have to push him onto the track, that's the line that people draw. I think because they feel sorry for someone fat enough to stop a train, but also it's more personal. You having to put your hands on someone and push them off a bridge to block a train from hitting 5 people further down the line. But when it comes
Well,
to
this
pulling
is-
the lever,
yeah.
it's actually quite interesting how people change. If it's already headed for the 5 people, will they pull the lever to make it head for the one person? It's quite interesting. The moment people have to get involved, they suddenly get shy about it. And they're sort of like, I don't know if I could, because that's not fair on that other guy and stuff like that. Like, it becomes quite an interesting ethical dilemma for people once they have to do something, especially if they're as physical as pushing someone in the way to save other people. It becomes very hard. If you were to make a logical decision, you should always save the 5 people over the one person. I mean, that's 5 families and 5 lives instead of 1.
Yeah.
The needs of the many and all the rest of it. But once people have to physically get in there and start making a difference themselves by intervening, it gets a little fuzzier, which I thought was
And
interesting.
also, if you give them an excuse, right, where they're like, if they do nothing, sure, 5 people will die. But if they actually pull the lever, then suddenly they're now involved.
Right.
If people can very easily stand by and do nothing and say this was going to happen anyway, it wasn't my responsibility
and just film
to
it on their
pull that
phones or
lever.
whatever. But yeah, absolutely.
There's this odd ethical. It's the idea that also the president should have to get the codes for the nuclear
Oh, he
weapons
has to cut him out of
from
the guy's
inside.
heart, right? That's one of
yeah.
them. So the codes are hidden
So-
in a Secret Service agent's heart, and he has to carve them out if he wants to launch. Because then he has to be serious,
the
right?
Secret Service agent has to be his firstborn son as well, to make it extra spicy.
Let's make it really spicy.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's other
train
layers.
coming.
Yeah, and there's a train coming. You can push your son in front of the train. If you stop the train hitting these 5 people, the nuclear launch codes descend from the sky on a tiny balloon, and you can annihilate the planet. Sounds pretty cool.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. The whole So the Storyville stuff, definitely. If you like documentaries and stuff, I mean, some of it's heavy, but it's really well done. And I didn't realize that it was such a long running thing, but there's tons of it on it. So it's a treasure trove of content to
I'm going to
consume.
dip into those, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like r/documentaries. I'm always like, that's one of the subreddits that is one of my go-to things. And if I'm bored at work, I'll just sitting in the office. Thank you to this week's sponsor. It's Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code Triforce at manscaped.com. COVID is lifting. We're getting our jabs, and spring break is going to be just around the corner. Everyone's going to be letting it go, and you need to make sure that there is also spring break in your pants with
my God.
Manscaped.
Just what I've been waiting for.
Manscaped is here to ensure that the party in your pants never stops.
All I want to know is, right, these dick pics people are sending, you better sculpt that shit. You know what I mean? You're going to be sending a dick pic. You want a tidy area down there. How are you going to get
Maybe
that?
just a little trim, but like, come on.
Right, but that's the thing. What are you going to trim it with? Fucking hedge clippers, Sips?
No.
You're out of your mind.
Well, yeah, absolutely, P-Flax. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the essential Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof cordless body trimmer.
I can't wait to get that thing all over my testicles.
Yeah, my personal... I just do use a number 2 over my whole body.
You do a number 2 over your whole body. You're disgusting.
That's really sexy. Holy crap. And hot.
Oh,
and probably the number
God.
2 is quite hot too.
It is sexy, really sexy. Yeah, and if you want to take those pics, you don't even have to do it naked. You could just, wear this swimsuit, but you don't want any like pubes coming
You don't
out
want
the
a
top.
swimsuit
you know.
beard. Get tidying.
Also inside the perfect package, you'll find there is a Manscaped crop preserver ball deodorant,
Nice.
an anti-chafing ball deodorant, and
My
moisturizer.
balls stink,
because
personally.
Yeah, for real.
if you,
They reek.
if you,
I'm saying for real that his balls stink.
Flex is
Well, they
very
shouldn't.
aware.
mine don't, because I use the ball moisturizer. I am smooth and gorgeous.
Right.
Thank you, Manscaped. You can use the code Triforce. For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts: the Shed travel bag and some chafing-resistant Manscaped boxers. Very high performance boxers. So there you go. Thank you, everyone. That's manscaped.com. Use the code Triforce, get 20% off and free shipping. Thanks, guys, and on with the show.
So, all right. So, I talking about TV again. I actually wrote something. I've just found this on my notepad that I note things down for during the week, and I've written. This is an example of TV acting, and this is what Marvel's Agents of Shield is like, and a lot of other shows. I've noticed a pattern in the dialogue because I haven't been watching them one a week. I've been watching them like 3 or 4 an evening, and you notice a pattern. And see if you recognize this pattern. Okay, this is how it goes. We need to talk. After what happened in Stockholm, I don't think so. Wait, Bishop, hear me out, please. I'm sorry. Soft dramatic music insert. You should be. I know, but with everything that happened with Carpenter and Burge, I made a mistake. We all make mistakes, Nessa. It's how we respond to those mistakes that matters. And your response was to leave us up there, high and dry. I know, but that's not all. There's something I haven't told you about me and Clint. Clint?
I'm pregnant.
We're together. We have been since that trouble in Mexico City. Smiles Riley. So you were trying to protect Clint. Damn, it all makes sense now. Why didn't you come to me for help? I couldn't. Not you. You're too important to me, you know that. Nessa, what's important is the mission. If this happens again, I can't protect you. I don't want you to, but you need me to. And so on. So it's like
So because
confrontation.
you
You're not
won't
gonna ask
protect
questions.
somebody because they besmirched
That's how it goes.
Right, okay.
The agency
Yeah.
is more important. Coulson's always saying it. So, but the show is very much like that, where you'll have tensions build up in one episode or earlier in an episode, and then in a later episode they have a confrontation, but that reveals some new information that completely changes the relationship between the two characters for the next episode, where something else happens that then creates tension that we then have in the next episode. So it's like this constant peaks and troughs of tension between characters that they create and resolve. And a lot of TV shows do this. If you watch any show that's got an episodic format with an overriding story. So it's not like, say, Game of Thrones, where it's one story like a novel, or The Wire, or a lot of those shows. The Sopranos was a bit more episodic in that in each episode you'd have certain events happen that played out and were generally resolved in 1 or 2 episodes, but with a very long overriding plot. So you'd have, we got a problem with Tony. Oh, Tony's causing a problem. Well, we'll go pay him a visit. You know, that kind of stuff. So we'll find out a little mini resolution over a couple of episodes for those sort of mini plot lines.
Yeah.
And then you have your broad plot lines. So with Marvel's
usually-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's a bit like that. But there's an episode like, we've got a report of a new Inhuman in Denver. And they go out there and they solve the problem. But it adds to the main plot, which is quite interesting how they do it. Game of Thrones was not like that at all. It wasn't like
Game
in
of
every
Thrones
episode.
a lot. There was a lot of like crossing over long arcs, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was like a lot of very long arcs for
Yeah.
a bunch of characters, and we saw a bit of them each time.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I was talking to Mrs. F while we were watching it. If you think about these shows, it's a different writer every week because these episodes, like it's like Game of Thrones or something like that, had, I think it was it like 10 or 12 episodes per season, something like that. Like there was like 24 episodes per series of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's much longer, and you've got to have a lot more filler episodes where someone just comes up with a cool idea, and that's your episode. Bam, that's 40 minutes right there. And I don't know if they have a head writer who just ties the main storyline together, and then they just say, all right, we need 23 episodes, just get me a whole bunch of writers, and as long as they understand the overall story, they can just come up with some shit and we'll fucking fill it in. I just think it's interesting. It's like putting together a computer program. You need people to write different modules. You have a lead designer who sort of...
It is really interesting. I guess it is quite formulaic as well, in a sense.
It's
like
different writers, but they're all a part of a team, right? So they get the same brief for like, okay, write let's do this, but then we're going in this direction with this character, blah. Like there's definitely like guidelines and stuff in there. There has to be someone
as well that says, for every episode, they'll have to go through and make amendments like, no, Fitz wouldn't say that, or, oh no, that's not very Coulson-y. You need to establish a change of character. Because it's amazing how consistent these shows are with multiple writers at portraying a character the same, they pretty much the same way, unless something changes them. And then you need to go through and say, like, right, from now on, Coulson's a complete dickhead to everybody for the next, 10 episodes because he's got problems with his fake hand or whatever. And then we go on to the next series and it's all resolved. So I'm just amazed and fascinated by the process of how you write something that complicated. And it has to be written with all the budget in mind and filming days and who you've got available. Because one of the funny things is, especially when you watch a show like that, you can tell that in the next episode, a character is going to be the focus because they haven't appeared in the previous episode.
Yeah, but okay, imagine all of that effort for a show that sucks. And then nobody watches
like
and it gets canceled.
or something. But, NCIS is one of the most long-running shows of all time, which blows my mind. But yeah, there are shows out there that had one series and it was god-awful. Yeah. And you think, wow, everybody was really involved in that. They're all probably really good friends.
That would feel so shitty, eh? Like if you were on that, part of that production and the whole thing. Just
you're right. You've been on this production. You've maybe it's your big break. It's the first big acting role you've had. It's a TV series. It's been commissioned. You're going to make a whole series. It's 24 episodes. You get into the character. You meet all the cast. You will get on great. The director's great. The writer's great. But the show fucking sucks. Really sucks. Everyone's fun to work with, but the show just dies on its ass. Or something like Firefly,
or the show
which
doesn't even suck and it just gets canceled because the network is just not behind it at all.
The guys that made Firefly still do appearances where they go to cons and stuff like that and talk about the characters. And there's a huge fan group around Firefly. Yeah, it's like a cult hit, right?
Right.
Imagine that. They were like, this show's fucking great. I love this character. I love the writing. I love the director. This is going to be a lot of fun. And then they're just like, nah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honestly, if Firefly was around now, it would be on Netflix and it would be keeping going. It would still be fucking going, guaranteed. But back in the day when it was like Fox and stuff like that, they were like, we don't understand this, so we're going to break it. We're going to release the episodes in the wrong order, and then we're going to say it sucks.
Yeah, Fox axed a lot of good shows, like when they were kind of at their best as well, right? Like Arrested Development got canceled. Didn't Futurama get canceled at one point and then came back later? That was Fox. There's a whole bunch of shows that were cut early for whatever reason.
Now, do you think that tells us that Fox makes mistakes like that, or that the majority of the audience out there just doesn't get shows that we like? Like maybe Firefly was a fucking terrible ratings and everybody hated it. They did fuck up the release.
There's shows with bad ratings that still survive, though. I think there's definitely politics at play in the background.
Cost has to be a part of it as well.
There's cost,
if your show is expensive.
But there's also stuff that you'll never know about, like so and so slept with so and so's wife or something. He hates him and he did everything he could to make sure that his show got canceled, or what I mean. Like there's tons of crap like that happens as well. I'm sure of it. But you just obviously a lot of that stuff you'd never hear about. So there's politics, there's ratings, but then again, some shows where the ratings aren't great, they'll just move it to some dead slot. And some shows that are doing well, where there's some drama or something like that, will be doing well, and then they'll move it to a dead slot, and then it'll die, and then they'll cancel it. Like there's a million different examples of that happening, not even just on Fox, all over the show.
But there are a lot of shows out there that I despise that are very successful. The Big Bang Theory is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
It did 12 seasons and it had 18 million people watch the final episode. 18 million people.
Oh, is it actually done now?
I think it's finished, yeah. That's the 2018-2019 season of Big Bang Theory. Who cares?
Wait, it's gone on all that time?
Dude, it's such a big show. I do not believe that Big Bang Theory was that successful. Like anyone out there that listens to this podcast, please, I want to see the comments of the YouTube. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Great
Everybody
show.
I
wanna
ever
know.
worked with watched it. Like, I remember people
There's lots
talking
of
about
reasons.
it all the time.
There's lots of reasons why people would watch it and enjoy
It's
it.
fucking
get a kick
awful,
out of it.
dude.
I've never seen a
know.
single episode
It's
of it.
possible. Well, sometimes it's hard to find good stuff, though, right? Like
You
sometimes you
watch
watch
it.
some things and you're
You
like, oh,
watch it, don't you?
oh my god,
You
no,
do.
don't,
You just
don't worry
outed
about
yourself,
that.
dude. Lewis is a big
fell
fan.
into
I'm
the
telling
trap.
you right
Don't
now.
mock me for my
we found
choices.
it.
You
We found
are a
him out.
disaster, mate. What are you doing with your life? Wasting it watching
How can
that
you
shit.
have so little self-respect? How could you disgrace yourself so badly? Why do you hate yourself so much, Lewis? What
Next, you're going
happened?
to tell me that you
Are
liked
you
How I
okay?
Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother. Were you a big fan of that show?
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I know of it.
Two
This
and
is
a
not
half
the one that has
men?
Doogie Howser, MD, in it?
Yeah.
Man, he should have just stuck with Doogie Howser, honestly.
He was
like-
in Starship Troopers. Remember?
No, I don't remember
he was.
that, actually.
He was the psychic guy in that.
I remember that fucking guy that was in Total Recall. He was like a 80s sort of like
Michael
tough
Ironside.
guy. Yeah, that's the guy. He was in
He
that,
died
right?
sadly, but yeah, he
Yeah.
was great. He was in Scanners, and he was in a whole bunch of movies.
Like he was, and another one was Tom Sizemore. Remember, he was always the
Tom
sort of.
Sizemore went nuts though. Dude.
He did go absolutely nuts.
Like I
yeah.
think he made a load of porn movies and
He did, yeah,
did tons
yeah.
of coke. Which I mean, you
Oh
could
my
say he went
God.
off the rails, or he reached peak Sizemore. It's up to
Screech
you.
from Saved by the Bell died a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
Did
he
you guys-
did. Yeah, he also
But
had a
of
bit
like
of a
lung
tough time.
failure, or something like really bad. Like I don't. He was like only in his 40s and
Yeah.
died of something that you'd expect like a
A
100-year-old
troubled
to die
life.
of.
A troubled life. I
Yeah, he
mean,
had a
Haley
very
Joel
troubled-
Osment's had a pretty fucking weird life as well since he was in Sixth Sense or whatever, and Walker Texas Ranger and a few other things.
All right.
I understand he's had a pretty bonkers life.
Yeah, I mean, I
as
guess
well.
it happens.
Well, you tend to get a bit more of that with celebrity culture and celebrity lifestyle, don't you? It's a bit of a wild place. I've got this notepad next to me where I like keep track of things, and if someone picked this up, it would be like the ramblings of a madman.
That doesn't surprise me. Let's hear it. What's on there?
Well, I was playing this game on Steam where it's like a cipher, I think it was called, like a decryption game. So
Right.
the first few pages are covered with my notes taken while I was trying to decrypt things. So it looks like the crazy journal of someone who's trying to keep something secret.
Right.
And then I've got just a whole page of notes about like ideas for songs that we came up with, ideas for like
What are the ideas
board
for songs, if you
games.
don't mind sharing?
well, like real songs or parody songs. You can't really do any
talking
parody
about
stuff
like
anymore, right?
talking about like coming up with ideas for a Christmas song, right?
Right.
And so various like ideas about elves,
Oh
like
my God.
kind of trying to make iPads.
How the fuck
and,
can
like,
you be bothered doing all that shit? like you when
Well,
you
no.
describe this, that to me sounds like fucking homework. You know, like it just sounds so fucking tedious. Like, you know, oh, I gotta get a Christmas song out this year. Like, Jesus.
No, well, like it's fun. We create this. It's fun stuff. I enjoy
Book
doing
reports
it.
were
but it's
really
just-
fun too. I bet for you. Did you like that? It's cool. Were
It's
you
good.
the-
Look,
do
when we were
different
at
stuff.
Yogg's Live, or Yogcon, right?
Yeah.
And there were all those people singing "Diggy Diggy Hole."
Sure, I know.
I'm gonna level with you.
I'm just
I'm gonna level with you. I'm not a fan of the song. It's not my genre, right?
Sure.
But those people were so fucking happy.
Yeah, no,
like it's all. I mean,
it
they were
is-
kids
it's
when
nice,
that song
it's
came
nice,
out. It was
yeah.
a big deal, big nostalgia thing for them. They loved it.
Sorry,
they
I'm
were
sure
so happy.
I'm ruining the magic.
You are. They
I'm
loved it.
like the Disney whistleblower.
And Lewis is trying to come up with another one. This is the-
World was composed by Hitler. Did you know
I'm not trying to come up with another one. I'm just having fun with these guys.
It's
I
a
know, I
small
know.
world built after all.
Read my book.
That's after he's conquered half of it. It's so
Fuck's
small, this world,
sake.
right? Thought it would be
One of
bigger.
them here, I've got you written down, P Flex. I don't know if I
What
want to
you've
share
written? No,
this.
no,
This
I
might
want to hear
happen.
it. I want to hear
Flax, you're gonna do a Christmas song. We wish
As
you
Hitler.
a Merry Flaxmas.
Well, I've got weird bald Santa written here, and then in brackets P Flax.
oh man,
I don't know where that came from.
I do.
Oh,
class.
I know
sorry.
exactly where that came from. Spite.
Oh.
Spite and hate.
really?
Well,
And a
it's
hatred
not
for my
necessary,
people.
though.
Bold people out there, you heard it. Weird bold.
Weird bald.
Weird,
oh,
weird
man.
bald Santa.
Poor bald
I don't
people.
know.
I mean, it's bad enough they're bald in the first place. But the toxicity around them. That like
We're
the
fair
people,
game, apparently. I get
Yeah.
stuff all the time. Do you know how many
That's
people on
wild.
Instagram have sent me the picture of those two dinosaurs saying, "Why don't bald men fight more often this way?" With the two bald dinosaurs about to crackheads. I must have received that about 20 times on Instagram. Thanks.
Well, it's not that you haven't got like the kind of representatives, standing up for you, like, sort of these pro bald people who are starting, shops for bald people and stuff, and like bald acceptance. There's no bald acceptance movement.
Do you know what it is?
Spearhead.
Do you know what it is? People see baldness as a failing. They think it's a weakness, that you fucked up.
Yeah, I can't remember which show I was watching, but
I don't know.
I was slightly taken aback by it, but I remember hearing this before as well, and it was I think it was like a dating show, or it was one of those reality shows where, like Married at First Sight or something like that, and the woman said like, I really don't like bald men or men who are balding. And I just thought, geez, that's pretty harsh. I mean, it's not their fault. Like, it did happen. It's like to a lot of men.
People don't care. It's fair game to make fun of bald people. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But I think a lot of people choose to have like that bald look, like The Rock and people.
You
have their heads down.
Well, I think once you've gone bald, you have to sort of roll with it, right? Like,
what's the alternative, Lewis?
I reckon The Rock should be the pro bald guy because he looks great.
Right, but you say he's chosen it. What is his alternative? He's lost all the hair on top of his head. What is his alternative?
Yeah, I wonder if
fucking Frasier, is that the alternative haircut? You have the little dangly bits at the back and you're bald on top, or Picard with just a rim of grey hair around it.
That's like the ultimate.
That's the two options.
He was always very shaved head anyway, right? Though, wasn't he, The Rock?
But I think a lot of that was that he lost quite a lot of hair early. He used to have hair, but you could see his hairline was going back. When he was started out in wrestling, he had hair, but as he started to lose it, you can't just cling on to like tufts and keep growing them out because that looks even worse.
Well, that's what.
True.
I mean, I'm looking at this wrestling picture of Steve Austin. He was obviously bald as well. And then you've got Hulk Hogan, who should have gone bald. He should have just worshipped it. But instead, he wore that weird bandana thing to try and hide the receding hairline.
So that's the option. You either conceal it, in which case you're giving in to the haters, and you're saying, yes, I will hide my shame. Nothing to be ashamed of.
I think exactly. I think that's the embarrassing one, right? Like, you are both weird and bald, but they're not, like, correlated.
Right.
You don't have to be...
I was weird when I had hair. Like, there's no relation between the two events.
Exactly.
But what I will say is, like, if you're bald brothers out there, and sisters, some of the sisters out there are bald as well. Bald brothers and sisters, hear me now. There is nothing that we respect less than people who are part of the bald fraternity and reject it and hide it and wear a wig or grow their hair like Hulk Hogan and wear a fucking thingy on there. If you're wearing a toupee or you're wearing a bandana or you're trying to hide it or you just always wear a hat, own it. Own who you are. Fuck the haters. Don't let them tell you, oh, you're weak because you're bald. Fuck you. Look at The Rock. He'd fucking tear you in half.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering though, this, like, the woman on that show who's like, I don't really like bald men. I'm sure she would like The Rock though. You know what I mean? He's bald, but like he's super handsome. He's fucking ripped and stuff. Like, how could you not?
He's
right?
also
She's not going to turn him down.
Of course.
He's like 7 feet tall, so you wouldn't really even be to see up there, right? You wouldn't even know that he was bald because you're looking from a lower angle, right? Yeah. You'd never notice.
No, I'm wondering, like, if because she said she doesn't like bald men, but maybe she just doesn't like nerds.
Maybe she hasn't met the right one.
Maybe she doesn't like Milhouse Van Houten's dad. That kind of bald man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The ring. The receding ring.
Yeah. I do want to talk about a tweet, just briefly. So,
go on.
Booth tweeted me, and she said, at Pyrion Flax, do we need to get you on a call with Gemma, Lydia, and Boba and me to discuss dick pic etiquette? Because this is a callback to last week's Triforce.
Right.
And then Boba says, this makes it sound like Pyrion sent you one, which is kind of sad. But what gets me is Booth's reply. She says, I'm so sorry. He's just clueless because he's been happily married for decades. That was how she put it. And I thought that was interesting. When Sips and I both did admit that we don't know anything about this shit because we haven't had to do it. Clueless. I thought that was
We don't know
interesting
shit about shit.
Well, we know nothing about nothing. This is something. We know nothing.
This is a particularly...
That's the formula.
But bad.
You can have something, and on the other side of the formula, whatever the equation is, nothing is the answer. And in between, you've got us and whether we know something. I'd like to see the actual formula for it. But essentially, the input is something, and the output is nothing.
Well,
That's
by
it.
all means, look, educate yourself. Get out there. Put yourself out there.
Get some snaps and, get out there and see what happens. You never know.
I was talking to someone this week who said that I can't remember who, or someone in the office, and they were saying that how people on Zoom have sort of, over the last year, gotten so used to Zoom calls. Like at the start of the pandemic, everyone was really shy and didn't say anything. And now people are treating it like they're just monologuing and to no one, and they're just yammering off on one. Like
a podcast.
It's weird.
It's a bit like a stream or something as well.
Yeah, I don't know where that sort of shift, when that
Even
shift
more
happened.
people want to be streamers now.
I've noticed a couple. I'm still not comfortable on like Zoom calls and
Really?
stuff, but like
Me too.
Well, I
I'm
haven't
the
done that
same.
many,
I
really.
hate them. I hate FaceTime and all that
I try and
shit.
avoid doing that.
It's the worst. You know what the problem is? There's a delay. Your mom says like, "How you doing?" Yeah, we're fine. How are you guys doing?
And then you talk over them.
Oh yeah, really
Oh,
good.
no, I'm doing good. Yeah,
it's so jarring. Like I
That's
hate
how
it.
it is. Yeah.
My mum's thing is
But
she
they-
constantly turns the camera or the microphone off by mistake. I don't know how, but she'll be holding the phone. We'll be doing like a WhatsApp call or something so the kids can chat to her. And she'll put the camera, she'll go from selfie mode to like the wrong mode. So we just see a shot of a cup of tea. Or she'll just
Yes.
mute herself and she'll be chatting away and we're waving our hands and she's like waving back and then carrying on talking. We're like, no, we're waving to tell you there's no sound. And
I had a whole conversation with my mum and dad on the weekend on Mother's Day, and she'd put the camera between the two of them. So the idea was that I could see both of them, but actually I could see, my mum's left arm and my dad's right arm, and that was it.
I hope.
But
I hope one of the things
advice.
that we learn from the pandemic is how important it is to be face to face with people, and hopefully once the restrictions are lifted and it's safer to be around people, I hope people use these FaceTimes and stuff less and actually just go and visit people more so than they have ever done, right? Because it's something that we kind of take for granted, right? But I think all this has shown at least that how important it is and how much better it is to just be face to face with somebody and actually hang out with somebody.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah.
It changes the way conversation is because
For sure.
So much of non-verbal communication and cues and stuff like that you take from other people. And it's just, I feel so much happier when I'm with other people.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when I come down to Bristol and we all hang out, I love it. I absolutely love it. Getting to hang out with everybody and have a laugh and a chat and go to the pub and everything, and all recording like next to each other. Like I did a tabs thing with Tom and it was just me and Tom doing it and we were just sat in the same room. It was great. It was a lot more fun.
It's
like
really
whenever
fun.
we do
Yeah.
live streaming and stuff like that and we're all in the same office, it feels a lot more connected and fun.
It's weird
yeah,
because
it's
it's a balance thing for me. Like I like going out, and then once I've been, I'm so glad to get home and not
Yeah,
talk to people
I think
again.
that's fair
You know
enough,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like it gives me, it replenishes that quota for me or whatever, like that I maybe am not super aware of. But you know what I mean? Like usually when I get home, I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'll do that again in a month or whatever, but that's enough for now, kind of thing, like
I go kind of crazy just streaming all the time. Like I've found that if I'm playing a game by myself, I ramble even more than usual. Like I'm just off on some weird rambly thing. Or if I'm playing games with people, I'll get kind of snappy sometimes, and it's like not the way I want to be. It's just it's not been healthy.
But it sounds like you've got that really healthy sort of 3 hours of family time every day.
You can't
that
avoid it
breaks
when you've
that,
got
right?
kids and stuff, right? Like
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
such a weird thing having been stuck inside now for almost an entire year.
Yeah, I think people.
It doesn't feel right.
I've seen people say like tweeting and stuff saying like, "Oh, I've just felt so weird recently," or "I felt down," or "I feel miserable." And stuff. And I think with a lot of this, like being locked down and stuff, I think while it's happening, you don't think about it so much, or it's not something that's apparently doing
you find
harm.
ways
But
to distract yourself with TV
yeah,
and
I think
games.
I
and
think it has
books
just
and all the
taken
other
its
stuff
toll
that
on a
you're
lot of
doing.
people in a lot of different ways, and I think people just need to give themselves a break and realize, not blame everything on that, but like it has been pretty tough, right? Like it's just been such a weird time, and it's thrown everybody off so much. And I think it's one of those things where you kind of realize it later that like how it has affected you, sort of thing. Like if you look back.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that always it's good to hang out with people. Some people are awful.
Yeah, some people are cunts, yeah. For sure.
We all know.
We know who we're talking
a couple
about,
of people,
right?
I've got actually. So I've noticed because I've been playing tabletop sim.
Jesus.
I've got actually one of these pages of my notes is people who I refuse to play with again.
Right.
And I've made like some notes like This guy,
Ben.
very slow and annoying. That's what I've written next to his name.
That is
I
Ben.
don't want to say who
Definitely
he is.
Ben.
Yeah.
Tedious, awkward foreign accent. I've put next to this guy.
Jesus.
I guess that means it's hard to
That's
understand
fair.
him and he's
It's
very
fair enough,
boring.
though. No, that's fair enough, honestly.
No, I have a mental list of people I don't play Dota with for sure. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, these are just random people. But like, I noticed that they kept popping up again in the TTS club, and I almost joined games with them. And I was like, oh no, okay, let me check my list.
Oh, I
my
love the
ban
video
list.
of you playing that game with Ben and oh god, what's his name?
Alex,
yeah.
yeah.
The recut that Joe did, where it was you guys like. I tried to explain. I made Mrs. F watch it. I was like, "This is how men spend their time when we get together and we're playing a game, perfectly happy for 4 hours, talking about rules
Three men
or
sat
saying
silently
nothing."
in a
Like,
room
that is literally
discussing.
I love
the
that.
most
Discussing.
the most bloke thing that I can think of. I'm not saying that women don't do it too, but I know that when I was growing up, that was how I spent my spare time. Get all the lads together. We would never have a conversation. You don't waste time when you could be playing this game and reading rules and being boring, having a conversation about what you did last weekend or how your mums are or anything. You literally just say, right, let's go. And that's 4 or 5 hours reading rules.
That was it.
I just thought
it was really good.
amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I really want is
yeah.
for one time for you to have. Is there a special unit that is about 1 meter on a side? Like that's the size of its base.
My
And
special
you can
unit is
call it
about
up
a
and
meter
just
in
put it
size. Sorry.
Like I want to see you deploy like some kind of Titan in one of these games, Lewis, where it's literally 1 meter square base, huge model, and you just put it, and whatever units you put it on are killed, and you can just bonk, put that on the board. Just see how it goes.
That's what we're gonna do. That we're gonna do an apocalypse game of epic proportions and play it over the course of like a day or two, and then turn that into a 20-minute video. I think that's the plan, really. So that we'll come back the next day and talk about what we did and cut in all the good bits. And
but what made me
leave out
laugh is
all of
people
the
calling for the uncut
hours and
4
hours of-
hours. Like who?
I
It's
know,
amazing.
like who wants to watch for? Because the
Believe
thing
me,
is,
people would.
we
Oh,
knew
man.
that we weren't gonna be putting out that whole 5 hours of game because we knew, and that let us sort of take it easy. And as a result, that we are just chatting about coffee and stuff and what we've been doing while we're playing, and we're just having this day of gaming together. It was very wholesome. It was very nice. That was during the first break, so hopefully now things are starting to open up again. We can have another games day, and you're welcome to come down, P-Flex, take part. We're going to play maybe Twilight Imperium. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I'd love to.
It's like a 12-hour long Stellaris board game.
I'm so
It's
down for that.
insanely detailed, and it takes forever.
I've always wanted to
yeah.
play a full game of that. I really have. So yeah, I would be down for that.
So we're gonna organise one of those. Well, I definitely you're invited.
Thank you.
So once you've had your jab, you can.
I
come
still
down.
haven't fucking had it. I know loads of people have had them. I haven't fucking had
Well,
it.
you had Corona, but even so, I think you're still supposed to have the jab because you can get it again.
Yeah,
can't you?
but I'm also 45.
Rolling out vaccinations to people in Jersey between the ages of 40 and 50. So I think I'm due for one like fairly soon.
Nice. I mean, I know
text you,
people that are like in their
apparently.
20s and have fucking had it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't
Yeah.
have any underlying health conditions, or they had something when they were much younger, and I'm just like, come on, give me the jab. I'm old as fuck.
Well, they might work in the industry though, so
No.
they probably got it on the dark web. They probably just ordered up some
The dark web
mafia
doctor.
thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going on because that's the sort of the thing you saw in like films like Contagion. Like the mafia would get hold of a load of doses,
it
or
is
like
for sure. Except
is
the
it
mafia
like-
is just the UK government, and it was
Hey!
Matt Hancock that orchestrated the whole thing. So.
Oh shit. Well, look, we better go. Thank you for listening this week, everybody. Hope you're all doing well out there. Look after yourselves,
care.
and we'll see you next.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, and God bless you. Goodbye.
Bye.